Nicole. Hi everyone. Welcome to another GSWPA virtual patch program. My name is Samantha. I am a Girl Program Specialist with Girl Scouts Western Pennsylvania. And today we are doing friendship bracelets, which I'm super excited for. We have a bunch of people from all over, so thank you so much for joining me today. As always, for our patch programs, we'll be doing three things. We'll be discovering, connecting, and taking action. For our Discover, we're going to learn a little bit about the history and significance of friendship bracelets, and we'll have a little discussion about friendship and what that means to you guys. Then for our Connect, we're going to make our own friendship bracelets, obviously, have lots of fun, use our imagination and creativity. And then our Take Action will be to share our bracelets with a friend or teach a friend how to make bracelets and swap them. If you do it as a troop, I think that would be wonderful too. So whether it's a friend, a family member, we just want you to share your new knowledge and your friendship bracelets with someone you care about. So if you're just hopping on, all you'll need is some yarn or embroidery thread, string, anything like that, in a couple different colors. You'll need some tape, and you will need a pair of scissors. How many colors? I'll be using 3 colors. But you're welcome to use more than that. If you don't have that many, that's okay too. It's just easier if you have 3 different colors to sort of, you'll see when we make the bracelets, but it's easier if you have different colors to sort of keep track of which way you're going. So 3 colors is best, but don't feel pressured. You can use as many colors as you want. Okay, so we're going to first learn about the history and significance of friendship bracelets. But I'd also love to have a little discussion in the comments about friendship. I'd love to know what friendship means to you guys and how you can be a good friend to somebody else. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well, and I'll read some of your comments. But in the meantime, I'll give you a little history of friendship bracelets and where they come from. And I believe this comes from alexandani.com, but they will correct me in the comments if that's not correct. So the bracelet. A friendship bracelet is a special, often handmade piece of either created for or intentionally chosen for a beloved friend or relative. Most commonly, they are made with cotton embroidery thread. However, other materials such as linen or plastic thread are also known to be used. The bracelet's vibrant designs are created when the crafter either ties or weaves colorful thread in special knotted patterns. This is traditionally done by hand, but can also be accomplished with a loom. Some more history. While the exact origins of the knot tying techniques used in friendship bracelets are a bit unclear, both ancient Chinese culture and Arabian culture are cited as likely having influenced the craft. The Chinese are among the earliest civilizations known to have developed decorative knot-tying techniques, which evolved into fashion accessories and household items, among other things. The art of macrame, where knots are tied into intricate patterns, is cited to have begun in 13th century Arabia. Both having the craft of knotting at their core, it's easy to see how these cultures can serve as logical precursors of our beloved bracelets. And some of your comments are already coming in. Madison says, I can be a friend by helping others. Absolutely. That is a great way to be a friend. So a little bit about the meaning behind friendship bracelets. Friendship bracelets are layered with meaning, some of the most popular callouts being as a symbol of friendship. These bracelets are thoughtfully given to a specific person. In friendship bracelet protocol, the recipient is supposed to wear the bracelet until it falls off from becoming so worn. This honors the hard work the giver put into creating the bracelet and/or the thoughtfulness of the giver. In some styles, the number of threads used have special meaning. The colors of the threads used sometimes has meaning, as specific colors are chosen to speak to the character of the intended recipient. Similarly, specific color schemes can be chosen to match the personality of the recipient. Adornments such as beads and charms are sometimes added for extra flair. So I just want to take a second to see what comments are coming in about what friendship means to you guys. Let's see. A friend is someone I can talk to and hang out with. Absolutely. Sometimes it's easier to talk to a friend even than a family member. It means helping a friend out when they need it and them helping you when you need it. Yeah, you're always there for each other. I think that's a very good meaning of friendship. I can be your friend by doing chores for my parents. So yeah, you can be a friend to your family members as well by helping them out around the house. Friendship is important in good times and bad times. Always be there. That is from Ella. That is a beautiful sentiment. I love that. For good or for bad, you're always there for each other. And giving your friend a friendship bracelet from Anna is another way you can be a friend, which we're going to do today. Janelle says they can be a friend by going on a mission with them. Yeah, I think that's a great one. You do stuff together, you go on missions together. I love that. Friendship is a special connection between two people, from Zoe and Lily. Yes, absolutely. There's a special connection there. Okay. So continue to type in the comments, have conversation about what you think friendship means, what it means to be a good friend, what you can do to be a good friend, and I'll continue to read out what you guys think. Okay, and I'd also love to know in the comments who you're making your bracelet for, whether it's a friend or family member, and what colors you are using, and if the colors you are using somehow represent that person. For example, I've used red, green, and white for my bracelets. We're going to be making 3 bracelets: a braided bracelet, a ladder bracelet, and a striped bracelet. I'm going to be teaching you how to make these ones today, and I've used these 3 colors, red, green, and white, and these are actually the colors of the Italian flag. On my mom's side, my family is Italian, so I thought this would be great to give to my sister, who's also half Italian like me. But if you're using any colors, like maybe you're using yellow because your friend is always sunshiny and happy and such a good person to be around, I'd love to know why you're choosing those colors for that specific person. We have some more comments coming in about being a good friend, or how you can be a good friend. Isabel says to be a good friend, you can draw them a picture and give it to them. I love that. Making something creative and giving it to someone else is always a good way to show your friendship. Friendship means loving one another no matter what. Yes, absolutely. Through thick and thin. Always being there for each other, being there for better or worse. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Friendship is always about being there for the people that you care about. Isabel says she's making it for her mommy. Red, blue, and purple. Love that. Karis is making a bracelet for her friend Briss. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. With red, orange, and brown. Lydia's making hers for her BFF Ella. Some people not sure yet. That's okay. I'm doing pink, white, and purple. I'm giving mine to my friend. Her favorite color is pink and mine is blue, so I'm doing pink and blue. Awesome. I think that one was so pretty. And it has so much meaning behind it. Someone giving theirs to their friends from church. Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much for sharing. There's so much in here. Blue, purple, and green. Dark pink, light pink, and orange. Pink, yellow, and blue. Someone's making theirs for their BFF, Sophia. Bliss is using dark blue and light blue because that is the only colors we have today. That's okay. One to a neighbor friend and one to Rain because she is a good friend and she invited Bliss. That's awesome. Making one for her new friend Alexa and one for her brother Wade. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm so excited. If you guys can, if you have permission to take a picture and share it in the comments once you're finished. This will be posted in Facebook so you can continue to share after this is over. I'd love to see pictures of what you guys create. Ella is using pink, green, and yellow. Anna is using 3 shades of green. Awesome. Okay. So whether homemade or selected with a special person in mind, friendship bracelets are the perfect piece to speak to meaningful relationships because they are made and given with love. If you're ever at a loss for what to give a good friend for an upcoming celebration, remember the deep-rooted meaning of this simple yet thoughtful token to honor your treasured friendship. So a lot of these bracelets are going to take a little bit of time and effort and a little bit of patience, and I think that's a great way to show someone you care about them, to really sit down and take the time to make something just for them. So I'm really excited to do this with you guys. So we're going to be using a couple of different knots as well when we're making these bracelets. We'll be doing an overhand knot, a half hitch knot, a square knot, and then regular braiding. So I'll go through those as we do it. If you really like knot tying, we also have a knot tying patch program video that you can find on our Facebook page under videos, and you can also find it on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search GSWPA. Okay, so I think the first bracelet we will do will be a braided bracelet because I think that's probably the easiest, and it's just the same way if you've ever had your hair braided or braid your own hair. It's just going to be just like that. So I would recommend 3 colors just so it's easier to keep track. But if you have 2 of one color and 1 of another color, that works too. I'm just going to, before we get started, I'm going to take a couple seconds to see who you guys are making your bracelets for. Someone's making it for their best friends, Violet and Mackenzie. Haley is making hers for her mom, yellow, purple, and maroon for love. I love that. 3 colors of green for dinosaurs that my cousin likes for his birthday. Awesome. Emma is using red, blue, and yellow because they're when I'm happy, when I'm sad, and when I'm mad. That is perfect. I love that. Great job, guys. My friend Molly. Jasmine is making it for her BFF Zoe with light blue, light pink, and dark pink. So pretty. Molly is doing hers for her best friend Annabelle. For their brother, I love that. Bracelets are for anyone. Mom, dad, brother, sister, friends, aunts, uncles. I think everyone would appreciate a friendship bracelet. Sophia is making one for Hannah. Ava is learning to make a bracelet for herself. She wants to learn how to make bracelets beautifully so later she can make great bracelets for her friends. I love that. Grace is making one using pink. Her friend is happy and funny. Blue because she's there when I'm sad, and teal because she's calm and doesn't fight. I love that. Awesome, guys. So, so fun. Okay, continue to put those in the comments, but let's get started on what we're all really here for, which is friendship bracelet making. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is a braided one. So I would recommend 3 different colors, but if you only have 2 colors, you'll need 3 strings, so 1 of each color. But if you only have 2 colors, that's fine too. You'll just have to do 2 of one color and 1 of another color, if that makes sense. Or all 3 the same color, that works too. So this one doesn't take too much string. I think I'll make it about this long. I always recommend going on the longer side, making it longer than you think you'll need it to be. Because you can always cut off the excess, but it's hard to add more. So if you're not sure, I would lean on the side of making it a little longer. I'm going to put them together up at the top. I think I like red, white, and then green. I think this could also be a great way to celebrate Christmas in July. You can celebrate Christmas anytime. And these are all about the same length, but I'm just going to cut them at the bottom so they're all exactly the same length, just to make it easier on myself. Oh. There we go. So about this length for our braided one, and I have 3 colors. I'm going to move this down so I can help you. I can show you a little easier. So I want, green, white, and then red. I'm going to put those together like that. And then I'm going to tie it in an overhand knot. So to do an overhand knot, you're just going to go around your hand, or a couple fingers, whichever is easier. You're going to cross over. You're going to take all 3 strings together. You're going to wrap them around your fingers, cross over, cross under, and then pull it tight. And that's your overhand knot, which is the knot we'll need to tie it off at the beginning, and perhaps at the end. We might do a square knot at the end. So then I am going to make sure you have an adult's permission to tape this down on whatever surface you're using. Make sure that it's okay to tape it against there. You don't want to. I don't want anyone ruining any furniture. Back this up a little bit. I'm just going to tape that down to the table so it stays in place. And I'm just using regular Scotch tape because it'll hold it down, but it'll also be pretty easy to take it off when I'm finished. Make sure that's nice and tight. And I'm going to put this back in the order that I wanted it. So green, white, and then red. So it looks like this. So the first one we're going to do is a braid, which is the simplest one. So I'm going to take, it's probably opposite for you guys, but I'm going to take one side. This is my left, but it might be your right. And I'm going to put it over the middle string. So now the middle string should be on the left, and the string that was on the left should be in the middle. Then I'm going to take the one on my right and put it over the middle. I'm going to keep doing that all the way down. I'm going to take the one on one side, put it over the middle string. You're not even tying any knots in this one. You're just layering them over top, just how you would do a hair braid. Then the one on the other side, over the middle. So you should have a pattern of left over the middle, and then right over the middle. You keep going with that. You're going to take your left over the middle, and then your right over the middle. And the tighter you make it, the smaller your braids will be. I think the one that I did before, mine were pretty loose. So I got kind of, it looks kind of like this, but you could make them even tighter. And you'd have more of a tighter braid pattern. I'm just going to keep doing that. Left over the middle, right over the middle. Left over the middle, and right over the middle. I'm going to start going a little bit faster, but you can always pause this video, rewind it if you need to go back. You need a little bit more time if I'm going too fast. And then you can always press play again whenever you're ready, and it'll pick up right where you left off. We'll also have a recording of this posted on Facebook and on our YouTube channel after, so don't feel rushed. If you need to go back later and finish it, that's perfectly fine. And then you want to make this long enough so that it will fit around whoever's wrist you're making it for. It's always good to make it a little bit longer than you think you'll need, because you can always cut it and make it shorter. But I also think I've made bracelets that aren't quite long enough for a wrist, and instead of getting rid of it, I think you can also use it as like a keychain for your water bottle. You can just tie it around your water bottle. I have one here, so I'll show you how to do that too. I think that's pretty good. You can continue going if you need to. But I'm going to untape the top of my bracelet, and then I'm going to do another overhand knot to tie it off at the end. So this isn't quite big enough, but we have other bracelets to do, so we're just going to move on to those ones. And I'm going to do a quick overhand knot again, go over, and then push it under all 3 strings, and try to make the knot against where you ended. So that's my braided bracelet, and this might not be quite long enough. Oh no, I think it'll fit around my wrist. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to cut this excess off. And again, I'm going to keep a little extra at the end just so it's easier to tie. So you could tie it just another overhand knot around the wrist, just like I just showed you, or you can do a square knot, which might be a little more secure. So let me show you a square knot real quick with another piece of string, just so it's easier for you to see. So a square knot, you're going to take the 2 ends, and if you're having trouble seeing this, again, we also have a knot tying live where we show this knot as well. That might be a little bit easier. But for our square knot, I'm going to take my right one. Again, it might be backwards for you, but I'm going to put that over and then loop it under like this. I'm going to take that same side, go over again, and under again. So it should end up looking something like this for your square knot. And you pull it tight, and the tighter you pull it, the tighter it gets. So it should be pretty secure. So that's the square knot. You can use that to tie it onto your friend's wrist or around a water bottle, like the one I have here. So I'll show you how to do it on that one. I'm going to take my bracelet. I'm going to tie it around here. I think that would look really pretty. So I'm going to cross over and under, just like I would for my overhand knot. And then I'm going to do it again. So it's kind of like 2 overhand knots. I'm going to cross over and under again. Oh, all my strings didn't make it through. There we go. So it looks something like this, and then tie it. So that was a little hard to see because the strings are so small. But again, we have it, our knot tying on YouTube if you want to see how to tie a square knot. If that's not your thing, you can just tie another overhand knot. That works too. Okay, so our next bracelet we're going to do is our ladder bracelet like this. You can see it kind of looks like a ladder or like a strand of DNA where it circles around. So we're going to do that one next. So for that one, you could use 3 strings, or you could use 6 strings. So I think I'm going to use 6, just because it'll be easier for you guys to see. I have some cut here already. So about this length, maybe a little bit longer. This might not be quite long enough. Again, you always want to err on the longer side because you can always cut it shorter. So I'm going to take 2 green, but you could do 1 green if you wanted. I'm going to take 2 white, but you could take 1 white if you wanted. And I'm going to take 2 red, but you could take 1 red if you wanted, or whatever colors you have. Or you could do 6 different colors. And I'm going to tie another. Oh, we've just linked the knot tying video in the comments. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. So if you want to take a second to pause here and go take a look at that, might be just a little bit easier to see. So we're going to do another overhand knot very quickly with all our strings together. Cross over and then under. I'm going to pull it tight. So now all your strings are tied together. We're going to do the same thing we did for the last one, where we're going to tape the top to the table so that it stays nice and steady. Take a couple pieces of tape. Sometimes I even take an extra piece of tape to tape down the tape. I think that just makes it a little more secure. Okay, so I'm going to put them in the order that I wanted them. I think this time I'll do white, and then green, and then red. Try to make them so they're side by side. So you could, again, you could have 3 strings, 1, 2, 3, or you could have 6 where 2 are together, so this will make it a little bit thicker. So I have 2 white, 2 green, and 2 red. So for this one, I'm going to take the string on my left, and I'm going to put it over my middle string into a 4. So I'll show you this again when I have the red string, so you'll be able to see it a little bit better. So I'm going to make a 4. I'm going to loop it under, and I'm going to pull it all the way up. And that's called a half hitch knot. So we're also going to be using this same knot when we make our last bracelet, but the half hitch knot is the one that's most commonly used in bracelet making. So I'm going to make a 4. I'm going to put it underneath the middle. I'm going to pull this up and pull it all the way to the top. So it's kind of like you're tying your white string around your green string, or whatever colors you're using. So I make a 4 like this, or a triangle, however you want to look at it. You're going to toss it underneath the middle and pull it tight all the way up to the top. And you want to make sure that those knots are nice and tight, otherwise you're going to have like little spaces of string in between. So I'll show again. Pull it tight all the way to the top, and you should probably see after a couple you're already getting that kind of threaded ladder look. So you're going to do that until you get it to the length you want, to however much of the first color that you want. So I have a little bit of white, just about this much, so I'm going to switch over to a different color. So to do that, I'm just going to switch my outside color. So I'm going to take my red to my left-hand side. Actually, I think it was supposed to go over both, but that's okay. So I'm going to put both strings here together. I'm going to make my green and my white. I'm going to make a 4. I'm going to tie it up. So I should have been doing it over both strings. I'm sure you could do it either way. You'll still get that ladder look. But put both 2 colors together and your 1 color separate. Make a 4 over these 2. Go underneath and pull it tight. Under, pull it tight. Make a 4, go under, pull it tight. So it might look a little funky at the beginning because you're supposed to go over both strings. So my apologies if you have to start over. I'm going to make a 4, go underneath both, and then pull it tight. Make a 4, under, and pull it tight. So then when I have that about the same size as my white, I'm going to take my last color, bring that to the outside, and just do the same thing. So I'm going to make a 4 over my other 2 colors, pull underneath, and pull up. And again, it's like you're tying your outside string around your 2 middle strings. Make a 4, go underneath, and pull it tight. 4. So these are all pretty simple bracelets, but there's plenty of different kinds of bracelet tutorials out there, so I encourage you to look on YouTube, explore all the different kinds of bracelets you can make. There's some that are super difficult where you can make shapes and letters and even a chevron pattern. So once you get the hang of these sort of simpler bracelets or easier bracelets, I encourage you to try out those if you really enjoy it. So now that I've got white, red, and green, I'm going to start over with white. This time I'm going to go over both of my strings, under, and pull it tight. Make a 4, under, and pull it tight. So I would keep going in whatever pattern I wanted. So I'm doing white, red, green, and I'll keep going with white, red, green. And eventually it will look something like this. This one's a little bit too short for my wrist. So you might want to make it a little bit longer than that. But if you keep going like that, you'll end up with this ladder bracelet just like this. So another super easy one is just kind of doing the same thing over and over again. Most of the bracelets are like that. They're just tiny knots tied over and over again. Okay. I'm going to take this one up. And I'm going to do our last bracelet, which is our most difficult one. And it's going to give us this striped pattern here. So I already started this one, so I'm going to show you on this one. But you will need 6 strings for this one. So I think the easiest way to do it is to do 2 strings of each of your 3 colors. So I have red, white, green, and red. So I have 2 white, 2 green, and 2 red. That's going to be your easiest way to do this. If you wanted to do 6 different colors, feel free. It just might be a little harder to keep track of the order of the knots. You'll see what I mean in just a second. Okay. So this is going to be using that same knot we just used, that half hitch knot, but it's going to be in a little bit of a different pattern. So I'll give you a second to get your 6 strings together, 2 of each of your 3 colors. And you're going to tie a knot at the top like we did for all the other ones, just an overhand knot at the top. And I'm going to tape this down. I'm going to use a lot of tape for this one because this one tends to get a little finicky. Okay. So you have your 6 strings, 2 of each color. And mine were pretty long. So if you're just cutting them, they were like probably arms, like wingspan for me. And I think that's probably what you're going to need. You're probably going to need a lot of string because you're tying a lot of tiny little knots. So again, always err on the side of more because you can always make it smaller. You can always cut it, but you can't make it bigger once you cut it. So I made mine really, really long because this bracelet takes a lot of knots. So don't be afraid. As much string as you can get. So you're going to take your first string on the outside. You're going to make that same 4 that you did before, but you're only doing it over the next string in line. So I have white, white, green, green, red, red. So my first string is white and my next string is white. So I'm taking my white string on the outside. You guys might have a little trouble seeing this, so it'll be easier to see when I do my other colors. But you're going to make that 4, just like you did for our last one, but it's just going to be over that next string in your order. So it's going to be a 4 over my white string. I'm going to push that underneath, and I'm going to tie it all the way up. And I'm going to do that twice. So I'm going to make another 4. Okay, so now that I've got 2, I'm going to put that first string that I tied my knot around, so it would be my second string in order. I'm going to keep holding on to this, my first string that I was using. The second string is going to move out of the way now that I have 2 knots around it. Then I'm going to take my next string in order, which is my first green string. Again, I'm going to make a 4 for that half hitch knot. I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to tie it up nice and tight. And then I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to do 2 on every string. So now that I've got 2 on this string, I'm going to put that out of the way, and I'm going to move on to my next string. And I'm still using the same string to tie around. So the first one that was on the end, I tied it twice around my white, twice around my green, and I'm going to tie it twice around my next green one. So we got 1. My red's trying to get tangled in there. And 2. So you might have trouble with your knots getting, or your strings getting twisted, so you kind of want to separate them as much as you can so they don't get tangled. So now that I've tied 2 around this string, I'm going to put that off to the side. I'm going to go to my next red string. So this was the next one in my order. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a 4, go underneath, and tie it tight. You want to make sure it's nice and tight so there's no spaces in between. And I'm going to do that twice. So now that I've done 2 around this string, I'm going to put that off to the side, and I'm going around my next one. So I'm going to make a 4, which I'm now thinking might be a D for you if it's flip-flopped on screen, but it should look like a 4. It's going to go underneath and tie. So that's 1. I'm going to do 2 just like I did for all the other ones. 2 half hitch knots on each string. So now the string that I started with is going to be all the way on the end. So I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning with my other white string to the start, and I'm going to do the same thing that I just did all the way down. So I'm going to make a 4 with my next string over, go underneath, tie a knot, and do it twice. Twice on each string. Are you getting it so far? I don't see lots of comments, so I'm hoping that means that we're diligently working on our bracelets. So again, we're going to make another 4 on the next one over. Since I did 2 on here, I'm going to toss that to the side. Move to my next string over, make a 4, wrap it underneath, and tie a knot. And again, my red strings are trying to get tangled in there. So I've done 2 on there. I'm going to move this over to the side and start on my next string in my order, which is my red one. I'm going to make a 4, go underneath, pull it nice and tight, do 1 more, pull it nice and tight, move this one over to the side. And if you forget how many knots you did, sometimes I forget if I did 1 or 2 so far, no worries. You're doing your best, you're making it for someone else, you're trying your hardest, and that's what really matters. That was 1, I think. I'm going to do 2. I'm going to push this over to the side, and then I'm back to my white string. I'm going to make a 4, go underneath, pull that tight, and 1 more. And pull it tight. So next in my order should be my green strings. So I'm going to show you again with the green strings, just so it might be a little bit easier to see than those white ones. But you can kind of see that I've created a white stripe here by making those knots. So now that I've done a white one, I'm going to move on to my next, which is my green. And it does kind of start to, at least for me, it started to kind of turn. So you might want to tape it down as you go. So I might want to tape this down just so that it doesn't twist so much. I've seen people use needles, not in this, but they've used needles in like a pillow and kind of stuck a needle through to keep it in place. But I think tape's probably the easiest. So I'm going to move on to my green. Again, starting with the outside string, I'm going to move all the others over to the side. I have my next string over, which in this case is another green. And I'm going to make that same half hitch knot with a 4, going underneath and pulling tight. And again, I'm going to do 2 on every one, on every string. So I've done 2 on this, so I'm going to move it over to the side. And moved on to my next, which is my red. Make a 4, go underneath, pull it tight. One more time. On this string, make a 4, go underneath, pull it tight. Then I'm moving on to the next one in my order, which is my red. And once you start going, you should see that they sort of make an order. They sort of separate out, so it's easy to see which string is next. I'm going to take a little break here to check to see how you guys are doing. Lindsay says, I'm doing great. Awesome. That is so good to hear. And getting some thumbs up. Awesome. Great job, guys. Okay, so let's continue. Is on to my next red string. And again, if you're having any trouble, you can always pause and rewind and go back to the start. And this will be recorded, so you'll be able to see it after as well. So on my next one, I'm going to make a 4, go underneath, tie it tight, starting to twist a little bit. Again, make a 4, underneath, tie it tight. I'm going to move that one over. Then my next one is a white. I'm going to do 2 around that one. The strings are getting a little twisted. I'm going to make sure they're nice and tight. My knots are nice and tight. That one got a little twisted. I'm going to undo it. Okay. I'm going to make 1. I think it's easy if you take the string you're tying it around and pull it towards you. And the string that you're using to tie, pull it up towards the ceiling, and then pull it. That might make it a little bit easier. Make it a 4, go underneath, pull the white string towards me, pull the green string up, and then pull it tight. So that was 2 around that string. So I'm going to do 1 more. Someone says using a safety pin works great if you're using a pillow. But again, make sure you have permission. I don't want you sticking safety pins into your family's nice pillows. So we made a 4, pulled it tight. Pulled it tight again. So now my green string is my last in my order. And my next green string is on the end, and that one is up. And you can see that this is already sort of making a green stripe. Over, under, and pull it tight. I'm going to start going a little bit faster, just so you can see all 3 stripes once they're done. And if you're done working, if you decided not to do this bracelet, if you're just doing the other ones, continue to type in the comments. I'd love to have more discussion about friendship, what friendship means to you, who you're making it for, who you're making your bracelet or bracelets for. What colors you're using, and why you're using those colors. Again, I think it's always simpler if you pull the string you're tying it around towards you and the string you're tying up towards the ceiling. And once you do so many, you really start getting the hang of it, and you can go even faster. And then you'll be making all kinds of bracelets in no time. And once you get the hang of this, this is probably the easiest one to start with. But once you get the hang of this, there's a ton of bracelets that you can make using half hitch knots, which is using that 4, like we've been doing. So once you get the hang of this, which is probably like the beginner version of a half hitch knot bracelet, I encourage you to move on to some more difficult ones. They have tutorials where they show you how to make one where you can make letters, you can spell something on the bracelet, or you can do a chevron pattern, which is like these. I haven't gotten to that level yet, but I think that would be pretty cool once you get the hang of it. So let's do one more. Let's do one final stripe, our red stripe. 1, 2, 1, 2. Sometimes I have to count out loud so I don't forget how many knots I did on each string. I also find this really relaxing. I think once you get the hang of it, you don't really have to think about it. Super meditative, I find. Kind of like how people find knitting to be really meditative. Helps you calm down, not really thinking about anything else. I think if you really like this, this could be a great way to help your mental health. And then you have a nice bracelet to give someone you care about. So the end result is even better. Some people do yoga. Some people play sports or do art. I love bracelet making. You can see now I can go a lot faster now that I've practiced it. So now that we've done all 3 stripes, I did a white, a green, and a red. I'm back to where I started, where I have my white first, then my green, and then my red strings. So then you start all over again. And if you keep doing it, you'll keep making stripes just like this until you get the bracelet to the size you want it. So I think I might do a couple more. Let's see how it fits on my wrist. And we're also almost out of time. So I think actually, maybe I have to do a couple more stripes. That fits on my wrist pretty good. You can see it from the back. I actually think I might tie that off. So I'm just going to do another overhand knot to tie it off at the end. Try to pull it towards so that it's right up against the edge. Make it nice and tight. And then I'm going to cut off the excess, but I'm not going to cut too much because I want there to be enough excess that it's easy for me to tie it. You might also want to, now that you have this knot tied at the end, you could even braid this to make it easier to tie. You could braid this all the way to the end and then tie it around your wrist. So I won't be able to do, I don't think I'll be able to do a square knot on my own wrist. So I'm just going to do a quick overhand knot. And I'm actually going to give this to my sister. So she has about the same size wrist as me. Maybe I'll just tie it. I'll just tie it around her wrist because I'm having a little trouble tying it around my own. But that is our striped bracelet. I'll tie it around her wrist. And it says that she should wear it until it wears out, but I don't think you necessarily have to do that. That would be really cool if you wore it until it wore out, but I think this is made pretty good. I don't think it's going to wear out too quickly. So that is our 3 bracelets. Our braided bracelet, our ladder bracelet, and our striped bracelet, which I have to say is probably my favorite, even though it was the most difficult. So that is our Friendship Bracelet Making virtual patch program. So congratulations. After you've made your bracelet and you've given it to a friend or someone you care about, a family member, or even taught them how to make a bracelet, you've earned your Friendship Bracelet patch. So congratulations. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I'd love to see in the comments, this will be posted afterwards, so if you want to take a picture and post it in the comments, I'd love to see what you guys made, what colors you used. If you ended up doing a totally different bracelet altogether, that would be awesome too. So thank you so much for joining me. We'll link in the comments where you can order your patch if you'd like to order your patch. But otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.